The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes. Welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
Hey, mate.
He's the DB of the show, and we are Blackinsports, where we're bringing and giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here to interview the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom, covering it all while laughing at it all, and providing a platform to be heard. So you know what we do. We want to welcome our guest today. We got a good one for you. Las Vegas born, okay, and raised. Cimarron is where this all-star got his start. He took them state champions back to back, okay? He took them back to back. So, you know, he used to protect those defensive backfields. Now he's protecting the streets. We want to welcome Metro Officer Arnold Parker. How are you doing today, brother?
Doing good. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so we jump right into it, man. So how we like to start the show is a shoot your shot moment, okay? So this is where you went for it all. It was do or die. It's now or never, right?
Okay.
So it could have been, you know, early days and playing ball, later days in your career, or, you know, with the ladies. But just give us a shoot your shot story. You can't give us oh, man, I always shoot my shot. You can't cop out like that. We want a true, legit story. So give it to us.
All right, let me my shoot my shot moment.
Yes.
I would say my shoot my shot moment. If you can see me, it's my introduction to who I am.
Okay.
And you can see my skin. I have vitiligo.
Okay.
And that's pretty much loss of pigment. So vitiligo for me, it developed when I was about 18, 19 years old.
All right.
Okay.
And it was something that's new to me that kind of took away some of my self-confidence, and I became very insecure for a long time. And I think it took me about 6-7 years.
Okay.
And it was a moment because like when I had it, you see me in the summertime, long pants,
Covered
long
up.
sleeve, hat covered up
yeah.
completely.
Uh-huh.
And it was just one day I was just like, you know what? I'm just tired.
Okay.
I'm just tired of just thinking about what people think about me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of dressing like this because I never did.
And it's
especially
hot.
in Vegas, 120 degrees. I was like, you know what? You know, you say shoot your shot. It's like we call it the F it moment. Just say F it, go out.
Yep.
You know, short sleeve shorts, and I just did it. It was just,
Okay.
Dang.
it was my wake up moment. It's like forget it. You know, I'm good enough.
That's a deep one, man.
That is.
Yeah.
That's big time.
Especially at a young age.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sports. Where did that love for sports start? Where did the foundation start?
Ooh, the love and foundation. Love and foundation started early, man. My mother, you know, she was just a young competitive person. You know,
Okay.
she's a single mother,
Oh, boy.
and it was just me and my sister in the house.
Okay.
She used to throw on ninja movies for me, and Barbies for my daughter. I mean, my sister. And,
Okay.
but my mother, she was always competitive, man. She used when she worked, she used to do corporate challenges, so she used to run track,
Right.
softball, all that good stuff, and she had a passion for track, so she put my sister and I in track.
Got you.
First track meet was Jesse Owens. I think I was like 7 years old,
Dang.
and
Out the gate.
pew,
Yeah.
I left everybody, you know, and that's how it started for me. Started with track.
So track
You know?
is a love. So you got that because we did see some of those track numbers.
Mhm.
So you got that from mom, huh?
Got it from mom.
That's dope.
Yeah, get it from my mama.
So did that just come natural to you? Just running track, or is that something that developed over time?
You know what? Track is one of those things to where like I grew up pretty much. I was raised by all women in a sense. So that was one of the things my mother liked doing. So
Okay.
she actually put my sister in track first.
Okay.
And we did it for a while. And then we started going to track club teams. And she's like, "You want to run?" I was like, "No, not really." You know, like I don't like wearing tights. And
Right.
that's the thing. All you wear biker shorts, and that's that wasn't a cool thing to do back in those days. So I was
Right.
like, "Nah." And then I go to a track meet. And I see a couple of my friends from my neighborhood. They in the
Okay.
track meet running. I'm like, "Are y'all running?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Mama, sign me up." So went out there, ran in some tennis shoes, no spikes, and,
Wow.
and just
Got loose in some tennis
and
shoes.
did it for a while. Yep.
Nice.
So the 100-meter was your best race? I saw you a state champion in that. So is
Yeah.
that number one, or is there another?
So
Yeah, what were the races?
I did the 1 and 2 in relays.
1 and
It was
2.
basic, but yeah, the 1 was my better race.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So with that, now track guys play football a certain way,
Right.
like predominantly track guys. That's just my opinion. But you play running back and linebacker.
Right.
So I guess how did that physicality, to playing football.
Right.
Where did you get that from?
Interesting question. Well, if you look at me now, I was always the bigger dude.
Oh, okay.
It was very, I guess I'll tell you the story how I became even a linebacker in high school. So went to high school. I actually started out as a running back and safety.
Okay.
And then that was my freshman year. I just played regular, just freshman football. And then going into my sophomore year, they moved to varsity, and I was backup running back to I don't know if you guys Vernon Fox.
Oh yeah.
I was backup running back to Vernon Fox, and I played corner. So I was like a little tall, skinny kid playing corner, so like that. So I wasn't the most physical guy.
Okay.
I just did it, and then I'm going to my junior year. I was, like 6'2", like 190 pounds, and they're like, man, this dude is just big. Hey, you want to go play linebacker? And I'm like, no. They're like, no, we're gonna put you a linebacker. I'm like, no, I like playing like corner, safety.
Yeah.
Like put me at safety. I wasn't really a corner either. I'm like, put me at safety,
Right.
And it's like, no, we're gonna put you a linebacker. So they put me at the wheel linebacker.
Ooh, put you in the box.
And,
Sweep up everything, huh?
So that's what I did. I think my junior year, we only had probably about like 20-something guys on the team.
Okay.
So everybody went both ways. So I started running back, started outside linebacker. And the cool thing is, like when you're a sprinter, the one thing you work on is your start. So my first step was just pew,
Getting them.
Watch out, little guard.
Especially, like you said, the little tackle.
Yeah, little
around the
guard.
corner. So
Watch out, man.
As soon as they say
Get
hike,
here.
I'm already in the backfield. So I was getting sacks, tackles for losses, just early. So like I found a passion for playing outside linebacker.
Double A blitzes every down. Coming up the
Watch
gun.
out, man.
Right.
Yep.
And so running back, and then how did that develop?
Running back was just something. I mean, that's what everyone did. One of my favorite player growing up was Walter Payton.
Okay.
Everyone loved Barry Sanders growing up.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he used to imitate that in those guys. And I came. I think I was backing up John Vernon my sophomore year, and I almost quit running back because I was just the tall. I was 6'1". Most running backs are like 5'8",
little
5'7".
You was taking some shots.
Got the
then.
shakes and everything like that, and I'm like the tall, like awkward, no shakes.
Run like Eddie George, all straight up and
Exactly.
down.
I was up and down. So I was about to quit, and the coach was like, "Nope, you're gonna play running back." He kind of broke everything down. He's like, "College running backs are 6'2", 220. That's gonna be you one day."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay." So I played running back, and then it worked out. My junior year, I think my first game, I had like 200 yards, 4 touchdowns.
There you go.
And it just, went from there. And we were a physical team, and that's what I used to do: run straight, run dude over.
There you go.
And that's how how it worked out.
We'll talk about the program and just, one, you mentioned your coach, man, and I've seen an article where you actually, down the line, shot back into him and said, hey, thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Talk about the Cimarron program and the coaching staff you guys had.
So the Cimarron program, one thing I would say was it was like a hard nose, give everything you have. We used to say all out or get out.
Okay.
So that was our slogan at Cimarron, and our head coach was Greg Spencer, one of the legendary coaches out here in Las Vegas. And honestly, how it started for me, it started with Coach Spencer, and then the respect that Vernon Fox had for him. Vernon Fox is one of the greatest leaders to ever lead Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was able to learn a lot from Vernon, and then Coach Spencer. He impacted my life in a different way because I was one of those kids. I'm born and raised here in Vegas, grew up on a historic West Side. Well, I just say West Side, in a predominantly blood neighborhood because you got certain parts of the neighborhood. If you know about the history of the West Side, you break it down to gangs. You have like your blood sets where you have your Piru, West Coast. You can go down the street. You have Gerson Park and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And you never cross those boundaries. And growing up, you grew up with a certain type of perception of saying, like, I'm one of these kids, I'm just going to try to fit in with the neighborhood.
Right.
So I was one of those kids that say, you know what, I do good enough just to get by. Just kind of like, hey, I just need a 2.0 to survive. If I get all C's, I'm good.
Right.
C's get degree.
That's
And,
right. Need to get in there.
And
Stay eligible.
Spencer he noticed something from me from off top from my freshman year, and he'll always be on me. He's like, "How you doing in school?" I'm like, "Oh man, I got all C's." He look at me like, "Ain't good enough." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And then sophomore year came around. I remember I got my first letter from like Stanford. And he was like, "How your grades doing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're good." He's like, okay.
No, hit you with the huh?
Yeah. And then you get a guy like Vernon, which was like say a great leader. Vernon was just like, yeah, man, like straight A's, just leader, just all that stuff like that. It's like you seen what Vernon's doing, man. He's getting a lot of opportunities. You got schools checking him out, looking at him. I'm like, yeah, he said that could be you one day. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like,
but I didn't take him serious.
Right.
But he always got me prepared. He was like, hey, this is my sophomore year. He was like, hey, you need to go take your SATs. I'm like, What's the SAT?
Yeah.
You know, because the first time I heard about SAT is from the movie The Program. You know, so you don't you like
Starting
SAT, okay? So like I go home, I'm like, hey,
defense.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, Mama, hey, Coach Spencer said I need to go take the SAT. She was
Right.
like, oh, okay, what is that? I'm like, okay. She's like, okay, cool. I said, yeah, it costs like $20-some. She's like, oh, you got to pay to go take a test? I was like, yeah. So we took the test, man. I scored super low as a sophomore.
Okay.
Didn't get it, and I remember my junior year, Coach Spencer was like, hey, come into my office. And I remember this was like my wake-up call with him, and like in his mentorship, we had it was LSU at the table, Wisconsin, and UNLV.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, we came here just to kind of meet you. You know, obviously not really that's for the fuck at the time, but it was like one of those deals. They was like, hey, we just came here to talk to you, kind of meet you and stuff like that. And he's like, how you doing in school? I'm like, oh, I'm doing really good. And then
Get
Coach
these seeds, son.
and he was like, he looked at Coach Spencer like, how's he doing? And he's like, hey, you got your transcripts? And I was like, transcripts, whatever, like that. So Coach Spencer went to go get the transcripts. They brought them up, and this is the first time I learned about cumulative GPA.
Yeah.
Because, you know, PE weight training give you A's, you good. So that 2.0 wasn't really a 2.0.
weight up, right?
When you start taking those A's out and you just see like those C's and D's,
Yeah.
I had a 1.7.
Oh.
So they were looking at me like, hey, man, they were like I said, it was LSU, Wisconsin, UNLV, and they was like, hey, man, we came here to really talk to you about, you know, potentially offering you a scholarship, but looking at your grades, we can't offer you anything.
Not going to be able to do it.
And they were like, yeah, we got like 3 running backs on our radar. You were one of them.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I was like, oh, broke my heart.
Yeah.
UNLV was the only one that kind of stuck with me like, hey, yeah, we can get you at a JC and kind of get you back around. So that was my wake-up call.
Well, we got to give them credit, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
A lot of people, we've been banging on UNLV in the show is that they don't stay the local talent. So we'll give them credit. That's 1 out of 5.
Yeah. So, you know, so I was like, okay. I got to get up on it.
And he just
You
really
know.
stayed on you for the.
He stayed on me, and he talked to me, and he didn't give me any breaks. He was like, hey, you know, this summer, you're not going to practice. You're going to summer school.
Oh,
First
wow.
time in life I go to summer school. And that's when I started getting my A's, man. I finished my my senior year with a 3.8 GPA.
Wow.
There you go.
Okay, give it up. to the
Great point.
coach.
So like, yeah, he was just on me, man. And like I said, when I was like, I was too tall to play running back, he's like, no, you play running back.
And he
And
gave you the-
he always talked to me, so it was good. It was good stuff, bro.
and then obviously he did it on the field because y'all back-to-back champs.
Most
Yes.
definitely, man.
So-
He made everyone tough.
So was it you guys had that same core of kids that went to the both years, or was you guys just a solid program?
It
clicking
was
on all
just a
cylinders?
solid program, man. Like I said, for me, it started with Vernon and the guys that was with him,
Got you.
and they just had good leadership and good work ethic, and it just carried over because like we never stopped. You know, like how sports was is like you play football,
Mhm.
and if you could hoop, you hoop. If you can't hoop, you do intramural track, and then you do track season.
Right.
So we just never stopped.
Okay.
You know, and that's what it was. Is like we always kept working out. We were one of the few high schools that you got guys in the weight room all the time. So
Oh.
we talking about, hey, everybody hitting 300 on the bench press, everyone
Damn.
300, you know, 350 in the squats. We were doing that in high school.
Talk about the program.
Yeah,
Right.
so
I was
it's
gonna
like
say-
we
See the table.
yeah. We were on the 12, you know, we were doing power cleans like
Yeah.
that's what we did. So
That's
when,
good
when you saw
stuff.
us on the field, you like, man, people was like, oh, these guys on roids. I'm like, man, we can't afford roids. Come on. like me and my boys couldn't. So I'm like, well, that's what we did. We just worked out and
Yeah.
we just had that work ethic and we just, when it got hard, we were a physical team and
That's
everyone
good
wasn't
stuff,
ready
man.
for it.
So you kind of touched on it, transition, I guess, into college and how that
Mhm.
recruiting process went for you.
Yeah,
Utah is the one you selected.
right.
Was there other schools in the running, or is
Yeah, it was a lot of schools in the running. I think I finalized my 4 visits. I had 5, but I canceled at the end. One of my visits at the end. So my 4 visits was UNLV, Utah, obviously, Oregon, and where else I go? BYU.
okay?
All right.
Um,
You was Utah.
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
well, growing up in Vegas, man, you don't hear about a lot of schools. Like I do
That's
about
true.
Colorado
Oh.
State. Like Colorado State recruited me. They wanted me to play defensive end. I was like, nah, I'm good.
That's what they doing for college.
You know, like Washington State.
Put
hit
you
me.
down to 3-point. You like, nah,
Yeah, when
cuz.
they said 3-point, I'm like, no, not 3-point. I'm like, no. And then I decided I wanted to play linebacker in
Okay.
college and not running back. So like I had like schools like Michigan State and Illinois, like different Arkansas trying to recruit me from running back, and I was like, I'm done.
Got you.
So
that's how you determine which ones that
what schools I was going to go to, because like BYU, UNLV was like one of the schools like, hey, you can play wherever you want to play.
Okay.
And then like BYU was popular coming up from Vegas. Like I didn't even know BYU was even Utah. I just knew it was BYU, Steve Young.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was my whole thing. They had Rob Morris at the time. He was like the cool middle linebacker at the time.
Got you.
So jumped up there, and then Jeff Teffer recruited me out of Oregon. Me and him had a strong bond, and he wanted me to play running back, and I was like, I want to play defense. So we kind of talked about me playing like rover, also linebacker, and it came down to actually Utah and Oregon. Utah just had a real good connection with the defensive court, not the linebackers coach at the time.
Okay.
It was Fred Whittingham. That's Kyle Whittingham's dad.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He passed away when I was in school, but we had a really good connection. He was just honest. Like that was my biggest thing. Like just be straight up with me,
right,
and we can move forward. And I knew it was time for me to get out of Vegas.
Okay.
Just like not to say the crowd was hanging around with, I just knew if I would have stayed, I probably got caught up and got in trouble. So I was like, it's time for me to move and get out and do something different.
And it's good to get away.
Yeah.
Experience something different, because sometimes if you stay close, you kind of slide back. It's easier to slide back into
easy,
those. Yeah.
Right. And I was the popular kid at the time, so I was like, you know what, get away, get out.
Yeah, that makes
sense. So Utah's my choice, man.
I love it.
I'm glad it was Utah and not like the Big Ten running back, because you'd have been 240, neck roll, no juice, run through the A gap, put your head down on this linebacker.
Yeah.
So you made a good choice.
And I appreciate that, man.
Rolling into Utah.
So rolling to Utah, man, I actually went in as a linebacker.
Okay.
So I came in as a linebacker, and I remember getting there, man. This is when I got introduced to the Polynesian culture.
Oh, yeah.
I knew about Samoans, but I didn't know about this Polynesian culture. Like we got Tongans, Tahitians, and all this stuff. So go as a linebacker. I'm like, I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, dude, 6'2", 215. I'm like, man, like we gonna be hitting. That's all I know. So I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous. I was like, man. So we get out there and we go to camp, and I remember we doing tackling drills, and the linebacker I go against, he's like 6 foot 280. You know what I'm saying? Cause like, so I'm just like, dude, I got to do tackling drills with this dude. And then we go, and it was just like a light thing. I'm like, cool. And then we mixed it up. Go to another guy. He like 6'3", like 250.
Right.
Wow, he sticks me. I'm like, So I'm like, you know what? So I'm like, okay, now I gotta learn. I gotta bring it every single time. And actually, when I went in there, I came in as, I think I was like either like the second string. What was it? Like they call it a rover, but it was still like a wheel linebacker at the time. And so I was doing that, and then we started doing special teams drills, and we did kickoff return. And I was like one of the up guys before the return guy, because I think guys knew I played running back, they didn't know it, and I don't think they really knew I was fast as a linebacker.
Right.
So the ball got kicked a little bit short, and it bounced right to me. I got the ball, took off, and I think the whole team was like, "Ooh!" I was like, "Ooh!"
So I know that boy had them jets on him.
So it's funny because like you see the officer staff that's looking looking mad, like, oh, they didn't even tell us about this dude,
right?
And I remember it was Steve Kafus. He's actually a coach at BYU now.
Okay.
He came to me and was like, hey man, he's like, keep doing what you're doing. And then the next meeting, I remember because
that's when the coach is trying to steal you right there.
Ron was the head coach at the time, and and Fred Whittingham comes to me and is like, hey man, hey, what you think about playing linebacker? I'm like, he's like, hey, you doing a really good job, man. He's like, hey, we were thinking about, hey, what you think about trying to safety? I was like, I could try. He's like, you know what? He's like, and we were just talking back and forth. He's like, give it a try. If you don't like it, you always come back to linebacker because, it's going to turn out, obviously you got to gain some weight and stuff, but it'll turn out because they were trying to get me to play.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. And then I go into inside the facility, and you got Ron McBride comes like, hey, hey, what you think about running back? We had Mike Anderson at the time. And it's like, yeah. And Mike, and we had another guy, Omar Bacon. They was like, hey man, hey, you should try running back. And then the O-line coach to me was like, hey man, we heard about you, but we didn't know that you wanted to play running back too. I was like, I never said I wanted to play running back.
Right.
So they was trying to get me to play all these different positions. So I was doing a little bit of safety, doing a little bit of running back, and I was like, you know what? I stopped going to the running back side of things. I was like, I'm just playing defense. I don't want to play running back. I'm done with it.
Right.
So I played safety, man, and actually I redshirted my first year because coming out of high school, I tore my shoulder.
Oh, okay.
And I tore it in track. I ran with one arm in my track.
Hold on.
season.
Wait
hold
a
on,
minute.
hold on.
Wait.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So you won. Okay. You won the 100-meter state championship
With
With one arm.
running with one arm.
Yeah.
Hey, what the hell?
Yeah.
So there's two things. Either you stupid fast, which I saw some records and
Hey,
some
well,
numbers.
he told you
Yeah.
went to track with tennis shoes on.
Well,
yeah, or somebody in
Yeah.
second place was running with tennis shoes on at the time.
no, it's just one of those
No,
things,
some
man.
flip-flops,
But I think my state championship time wasn't that fast. I think I ran like a 10.9 for the
I
state
saw- yeah, yeah.
championship.
Mhm.
But my fastest time that year was a 10.6.
Mm.
But like I said, it was one of those things. Like I came off the blocks, I slipped a little bit, came up, but it was just one of those times. But yeah, it just
I slipped a little bit.
yeah.
Still
But-
won.
One arm,
But
too.
that's what it was.
crazy.
Yeah, I was out for about a month and came back for the what's the name? But
Well,
yeah.
shit, no wonder when you saw them big dudes at linebacker, you're like, man, I gotta hit these. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get my shoulder regained,
Yeah,
right?
so I was like saying like I knew I was going to redshirt. I was like, I'm going to redshirt. They was trying to get me to play, but I traveled with the team for the first 3 weeks, and then they let me redshirt, and then that was it. You know,
So you had a big name coach there. When did that big name coach come in?
Urban Meyer came in my senior year.
Oh, your senior. I
My
thought
senior
he
year,
came.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep, became
I
my
misread
senior
that
year.
wrong. Okay.
Yep.
Hold on. Your senior year was 2003.
2003. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So how was that?
Yeah.
Man, it was a unique thing because like Coach Mack, everyone loved Coach Mack. He was like a father.
Got you.
So it wasn't a surprise that he got, they let him go.
Mm-hmm.
But no one knew who Urban Meyer was at the time.
Okay.
And Urban Meyer came in
Guns
like
a-blazing?
wheels are blazing, man. Like I always call it the Roman Empire.
Oh.
Like it was like anything you had up, if you had statues, if you had pictures, tore everything off the wall. It's
starting
like we
over.
started
This is
all
this
over.
is young Urban too.
Yeah,
Before
he
started
started
getting
all
sick.
over.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, like nothing matters. Your history was just gone. We started something new.
Jeez.
And it's crazy. It was the best thing he could have done for the program because I think we were a complacent program.
Okay.
We always had the talent. Like you got to think, you got Mike Anderson, you got Steve Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Alex Smith. Like you had
The talent
you
that
got
was coming
Jordan
through
Gross.
there.
You always had talent. I could go down the list.
Yeah.
And we just it didn't amount to wins.
Wow.
Just think about it. Like they moved me. Like I think my junior year because I was actually productive as safety. And
Okay.
they moved. I'm like a 6'2", 220
Yeah,
safety. They moved me to cornerback.
I'm gonna talk about that.
I'm glad you did. Let's talk about it. So they moved me to corner. So like just because I was fast. And that's it. So
We don't need no technique, boy. You
right,
fast.
just go out there, man. Play street ball.
There it is.
Undercover one. We got it.
Lock him up.
Yeah, no post up. He's supposed to be in the post, but just go out there. Just cover zero, four man rush. Let's see what happens. So that was the scheme. But Urban Meyer came in there. He came with a system because before Utah offense, we didn't have any offense.
Right.
He came with we called it the sproption at the time, and it took off, man.
Okay.
I think our first quarterback was Brett Elliott. He got hurt. Alex Smith came in
and didn't look back. Boy.
and didn't look back and tore it up. But Urban Meyer, he knew the game of football as far as like the game of football and the politics of football. He had a strong relationship with ESPN, so he knew how to work with Herb Street, whatever his name is, up there to where it's like. So he always talked to him. He always go to practice talking about dun. Like, let's get on Sports Center. Let's be Sports Center top 10.
Oh, that was his mindset.
That was his mindset.
Now that's dope.
And so his whole thing was like, his goal was to get guys to the NFL. So because that makes him a better coach.
100%. Well,
So-
yeah.
so that was his
that's
mindset.
a recruiting tactic too,
Right,
right?
and and that's how you win, right?
That's how you win.
So that was his mindset.
Dang, that's
Like
that's big.
you don't like when he came in, everyone and like everything about him. But if you understood winning and how winning is systematic in the philosophy of it, he changed the game for Utah in that aspect, and that's why Kyle Woodham's a good coach as he is today because he had ran
was
into
under
Urban
that.
Meyer. He was under that. He learned so much
Built
from
that.
him.
That's big,
you know,
man.
and that's what like when people say Urban Meyer's one of the best coaches out there, he understands the game,
Yeah.
every side of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Inside and outside.
exactly.
For sure.
You know, so and that's why I give it up to him. Is like he knew how to get guys there. You know, and he did it for a long time.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
you touched on mindset. So
Yeah.
talk about the mindset from coming out of the box. I'm a DB. I love corner. I
Right.
love the beauty of corner.
Right.
I play corner.
Right.
Coming from the box of linebacker to safety to corner, it's a totally different mindset and
Right.
mentality of how you function. So how was that
Right.
process? I read that you said it was a struggle at first, but you kind of
Right.
figured it out. So
Yeah, so my so I go quick through my history. So my first year, like I said, I started as a freshman at safety, and I was a strong safety because remember my background is linebacker. So
in the box.
playing in the box is my
Neck roll.
comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
You know, so and then with that, so I did that, and I remember because we used to rotate with me and 3 other seniors. We would rotate back and forth every 2 series.
Okay.
And Whittingham said, this is Kyle, he was the D coordinator at the time. He was like, hey, whoever started playing better is going to get more playing time. So I started playing better. Next thing you know, he's like, hey, we're going to put you at nickel too. So I started playing nickel, and I was successful.
Okay.
And nickel's a little different because
It
you
is
got
different.
a little more help.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not going against, you know, Braylon Edwards and
Yeah.
Bobby Wade and guys
Right.
like that. You going against maybe your third receiver. So, you know, I was able to take advantage of guys, stuff like that. And if say someone got on top of me, you still got that post safety on
Yep.
top of
Over
you.
top.
Yep.
So I was very successful with that. And I used to blitz off the edge from corner too. So it was an opportunity for me to, you know, hit quarterback. So
Right.
it turned out really good.
First step.
So when I was successful with covering guys,
Uh-huh.
they were like, hey, you want to play corner? I was like, no. And think about it. We had Andre Dyson and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
I just learned how to backpedal. If people understand, like, I just learned. And backpedal for a tall dude and
Yeah.
a heavy tall dude,
Right.
it ain't easy.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, 5'10", 185 pounds.
Right.
So I'm just looking at the corners. I'm like, man, all right. And they was like, you want to play corner? I'm like, no. Like, I just want to play safety. You know, like I had, you know, guys talking to me for like I think I had like not scouts, but agents calling me from like my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good
You
stuff.
know, and they were like, hey man, like, you know, you can make it. I remember even Steve Smith called me one time. He's like, hey, I remember when he found out I was actually moving the corner, he was like, dude, don't do it. He was like, he said, I think some guys got you like a 2nd round grade on you, man. He's like, stay
where you at.
stay where you at, you good, bro. There ain't too many dudes that's your height and got your speed.
Right,
You know, especially I was successful in the box.
Wow.
So I think my sophomore year, I think we had a pretty good year.
Okay.
And we went to the Vegas ball, and they came to me again. I was like, no. And then spring ball happened, and I was playing safety. It's like, hey, you want to play corner? I was like, man, I'll try it out just for spring ball. And then I think like the first or second week of spring ball, I got really bad turf toe.
Ooh.
So I'm out there playing corner a little bit, but I was like, man, I ain't finna be chasing nobody. I can't run. So I just started grabbing people. So spring ball ends, I get like maybe like a week or 2 at corner, whatever like that. And I was decent because,
Right.
you know, it was nothing bad about it. So I was like, okay, cool. And then then the summer camp comes, and then like, okay, cool. And I end up tearing my abdominal muscle. So I missed all a summer camp.
Damn.
And then they was like, hey man, we need you to play corner, man. Like he said, we need our best 11 out there. And you know, we need you to play corner. We don't got any guys that play, you know, that's played. All our seniors are gone. We need you to step up. I'm like, all right. So my junior year, I think every receiver I went against went to NFL. First receiver was I think Kevin Curtis, played for the Rams.
Yep.
Went against him, and I had a really good game against him.
SC.
I think the only catches he had was 2 screen passes that went
Okay.
long. I think he did one comeback on me. Man, I ain't never experienced a comeback route on me, so he got me on that one. So that worked out. Then we played against Indiana or something like that. And this after Randall L graduated.
Right. Okay.
We played against him our junior year, but we played against another guy. He went to the league too,
Okay.
and I was successful against him. I think I got defensive player of the game, and then it went all bad. I played against a legitimate NFL receiver with a legitimate NFL quarterback,
And they know the route tree.
and not even that he had the route tree. Like I get on the line and press him. That's all I can do is press. And I didn't even have like a system of press. I just got in front of you. If I can get my hand on you, I get my hand on you. I'm telling you, that was my training. And I don't like talk about guys, but like you know, like I just didn't have no one to actually like, you know, skill me up at the time.
Right.
So
it was just all raw.
it was raw talent, you know. So I'm just like, man, and I'm playing with a torn domino against shots every game. So I go against Bobby Wade, man. And Bobby, and I was getting him at the line.
Okay.
But we rushed 4. Man, that quarterback could hold that ball. Bobby Wade, he'll get on top of me. I'm like, okay, I got the ball. I'm about to get it. He'll put his hand out, pow, push out, tub.
Get that separation.
He got that separation. I'm like, okay. He got me once. I'm like, oh, I'm stressing. Do it again. Touchdown. So he tore me up. I think he had a career game against me, man. I think he had like 5 catches, like 100 or 200 yards or something like that. 2 tubs.
But to your credit, though, man.
Yeah.
Every year I've seen, not every year, but most years after you,
Yeah.
Utah always has this big ass corner. Like Sean Smith was
Sean Smith.
was
Ball
the guy,
skills, awesome.
but because he was coming out kind of the year that I was done with school, so I was looking at all the corners, and I looked at Utah Sean Smith. Sean Smith 6'3", 220. I'm like, the hell? Where's the 5'11" corner? What happened? And then we'll get to parts into your professional, so I'm not gonna get into it now. But there's another wave of how somebody plays where you had experience with taller corners now too. So I'm like, you might not take credit for it, but I think you started the wave.
Oh yeah, I was the seed. I just took all the grunt.
Yeah, right? You started something over there.
Yeah.
You want to hit with the quick hits, man?
Yeah, real quick before I get into the quick hits.
All right.
Real quick.
Real quick.
So there was a touchdown that you scored against CSU.
Okay.
The guy that fumbled, his name was Marcus Houston.
Yeah, I remember. Okay.
That hurt everybody in Denver to the T. That was like the last like failure of Marcus Houston. Marcus Houston was the guy at Denver. The dude was all everything.
Right.
After BK was on the show last week, so he was like the next dude after BK.
Okay.
Right? So he was everything to Denver. It was like, oh, we're going to see Marcus Houston play. That's Jesus in cleats. Like, he got a magic carpet. Like, this dude was so good that like he left in the middle of the season. He was like a prince in Ghana or something, like a chief. No lie. He left in the middle.
Serious?
Did some work in Africa. They was like, look, you a chief of this tribe in Ghana. Came back, Russian records and all that kind of stuff. Like he did everything but die for men's sins. But I'm literally telling you, that was the last piece of Marcus Houston when he fumbled and you scored.
It was all over.
When I was doing some research, I was like, damn, that's AP that took that from Marcus Houston.
Yeah, man. And it was crazy too, man. And it's crazy how everything worked, because like my career there, we never beat Colorado State. They always just come at the end and just take it from us.
Yep.
And I remember when he did that run, he was coming out. I was like, you can see that ball out a little bit, because I think that was one of his issues. He had a fumbling problem.
Yep.
And he wasn't very physical.
Right.
I remember him starting at Colorado at first.
Yep.
And he was coming around that corner. All I was thinking, I remember, because I was on a receiver, how they receivers pat block. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to just run and try to take the ball from him.
Right.
However, before I got there, our safety go out there and hit him. Ball pops up, boom, right in my hands. Just took down, touchdown all the way down the field.
Yo. Go to the next. Go.
Yeah.
These are quick hits.
Okay. First time you were starstruck. These are just random questions.
First time I was starstruck, man. So after college ball, I played a little bit of pro ball, and I was signed with the San Francisco 49ers, and I was eating lunch, and Mike Singletary sits right next to me, talking about, how you doing, son? How's your day?
I want winners.
Right, and I'm looking. I'm like, dang, man, it's Mike Singletary. Like, how do I answer him?
Right.
So I'm like, looking at him like, good. And I'm like, because he got the big eyes.
Yeah.
He got the Mufasa voice. And he like, man, like, it's Mike Singletary. Like,
Can't win with him. Can't play with him.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Right. So like that was my moment being starstruck with Mike Singletary.
Dope.
If you were to win a gold medal or Super Bowl, which one?
I had to take a gold medal, man.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Usain Bolt. If you can go out there and say I'm the fastest man in the world,
Craig.
I'll take that all day.
The world.
All day. I mean, we was watching track last night. I was watching with my boys. I'm like, man, just to have a gold medal, man.
So hit him with the
start, bench, or cut.
Okay.
Got to start one, bench one, and cut one. Coaches.
Okay.
Urban Meyer.
Okay.
Nick Saban.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Joe Paterno.
Well, the easy one to cut is Joe, Papa Joe. Leadership matters.
Joe cut.
Okay, that makes sense.
If I had to start one, Whew, I gotta go with Nick Saban. Man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I gotta go with Nick Saban, man. I love how he keeps the game simplistic.
Recruits.
He recruits, man. I mean, O-line, D-line,
Yeah.
defense, man, running backs. Like he wins the game like traditional, like old school football.
I love it.
He does it. Like Urban Meyer, one thing I would say his biggest knocks is quarterbacks.
Mm.
He doesn't develop NFL quarterbacks.
Wow.
You know.
All right.
That was-
So let's kind of transition to kind of end the game. And this one we're going to focus just a little bit about, the end of your career and that transition into the pros. All
Okay.
right? So draft day comes.
Yeah.
The 2004 draft.
Yes, sir.
All right. My man Mel Kiper
Yeah.
has you. Yes.
I know.
So there are almost 50 DBs, safeties, whatever they go into the league. Tell me how your day went.
Man. So I knew it was a possibility of me not getting drafted at all.
Okay.
Like I remember I went into my East-West Shrine game. I went as a cornerback. They asked me I want to play safety, but I was like, I had his opportunity for a guy on my team to play. So I was like, you know what, I'll play corner to bring him in.
Let both. Okay.
So I went out to the All-Star game and I showed out.
Mm-hmm.
I was the talk of the All-Star game. So I was like, you know what, I prove I can do this thing. And I got invited to other All-Star games, but I had a torn hamstring. So I was like, you know what, I can't play. I'm not going to go out there and play. So I didn't.
Okay.
I had a decent combine to run as fast as I wanted to. So I knew that I could have hurt him. I came back my pro day, ran faster.
4.36. I thought I saw something like that.
Yeah, my fastest time was a 4.32.
Excuse me, 4.32.
Yeah, my average was like a 4.37, and then I think at the combine I ran like a 4.51 and a 4.53, and then my pro day came back and ran a 4.43.
Okay.
Yeah, that draft day was
Did you
unique.
run them in tennis shoes?
That draft day was unique, man.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't gonna go first round, second round. I was like, if I get third round, awesome.
Mhm.
Like that was gonna be a win for me.
But fourth round,
So
you
I was
thought
thinking
really
like fourth and fifth, I was like, I'm
third,
good,
fourth.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So what got me was like my name came on Mel Kiper's top
Still
whatever,
available.
still available, right?
Best available.
Best available. So I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. I'm getting phone calls left and right. I remember, you guys know Bucky Books that's on TV. I remember he called me all
My
the time.
guy.
Boy, he
I'm
loved
like,
Bucky.
I love Bucky
Books.
too, man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Because when Bucky's always talking, he's like, what you want to play, safety or corner? I'm like, what you think? Because he was a scout with the Carolina at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there watching. I'm like, man, everybody's called me. I thought the Raiders were gonna draft me because I think a week earlier a guy from the Raiders called me. I'm talking. I'm like, hey, what round you guys got me going? He was like, I can't tell you. I'm like, man, come on.
Holla
He was
at
like,
your boy.
we got you number 4, going fourth round.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, and they ended up drafting Stewart. What's the name? Stewart Schrager. I forgot his. He played with Purdue or something like that. He played with the Raiders for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, the Raiders not gonna draft me. And so the fourth round goes by, fifth round happens. I'm like number 3 or 4 on best available. All right, so I'm like, okay, somebody gonna get me. Sixth round comes up, I'm like number 1. I'm like, okay, cool, number 1, you good. Seventh round comes up, I'm like, all right. So I think a few teams called me. I think Seattle called me.
Carolina
called me, obviously.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, dang, you got it all down there.
Buffalo.
Yeah, also
I saw
everybody's calling me, so I'm like, all right. And then next thing you know, I remember who did it. Seattle. Hurt my heart. Drafted the punter.
Hold on, what?
Yes.
But they were all talking
They
to you
was
though,
on
right?
the phone, yeah, right. And so Seattle calls me.
Oh, damn, Seattle.
And they draft the punter, and then Bucky calls me. He was like, "Hey man, hey, I'm trying my best to get you for the 7th pick."
Right.
So I'm like, okay. They drafted like a tight end, I think, and so I'm just like, "You gotta be kidding me, man!" So I was pissed. I wasn't sad. I was like,
But that's
you
an
gotta
emotional roller coaster.
yeah, I was
People
like,
don't
you gotta
understand.
be kidding me, because like I wasn't like, I was like, I played safe corner for 2 years, so I
Right.
knew I wasn't like the top of the line at the
Right.
moment. So I was like, you know what, cool. If I go 6, 7 round, whatever, I'm happy with it. But
Right.
being free agent, I was like, man, so everyone called me free agent. I'm heated, I'm pissed. And it was a few teams that said, hey, you come in, you could compete for the starting spot. I'm like, okay, I ain't believe none of this stuff
Sure.
anymore. And then and my agent called. He was like, hey, what you think about Seattle? I'm like, I don't know. And I think he said at the time, I think Carolina offered me the most money to come in as a free agent.
Okay.
And he was like, I don't know, I had a real relationship with them. I don't know if, what do you think about it? I'm like, let's do Seattle, because I think a few people called me and said, hey, man, Seattle really likes you. You probably make their team.
And they were saying that you would be the only one that they were bringing in that position.
Right. They lied to me, but yeah, that's what they told me. So
it's a cold game.
Yeah. But one thing I will say is they treated me good when I was there.
Dope.
But so that's where I went to Seattle. As a free agent, man. Yeah.
Now, did you go as a corner or safety?
So uniquely, so I went as both. So in the league, it's crazy, right? Because
the Legion of Boom started with you.
Because you got the free safety, the strong safety, and because they put me actually in the insides though as a nickel and dime. So I had to learn 4 positions.
Yeah.
Because free and safe 2 different positions,
Right.
and like the nickel, and so I had to learn all of them, and so that's what I did. It was cool though, man, because I went out there and I showed off. It was funny because I think who was my coach? It was Terrell Austin. And I remember because like I said, I was a press guy.
Uh-huh.
So I was pressing. I was successful, and I played off. And he looked at me. He was like, "Hey man, just press, just press."
Hey man, scoot up, man.
Right. And we were doing 1-on-1s. But as far as playing safety, that was my natural position.
Got you.
And then since we ran more different coverage, we went back to running your quarters and stuff like that, to where like now I'm playing in space. That's my game. I was, the one thing they said, man, this dude is all over the field. So I went from being like the fourth corner to where I was actually competing for one of the second spots at safety, because I think they had Michael Bull where he was the 2nd round draft pick. So me and him was going in together, and I was competing for that nickel and dime spot. So nice. I think I was like we went by time camp hit. I think I was that dime, because I had True Fun, Ken Luke, Chris Richard, and BT and True Fun was the starters, and sorry, Chris, man, but I was competing for his spot.
Gotta get him.
But what sucks is that soon as camp started, man, the first day of camp, fluke injury, tore my shoulder.
Dang.
Yeah,
Same
man.
shoulder that you had in high school?
No, it was the opposite one.
Opposite. Wow.
Yeah. So I was out for a while, and was trying to get back on the field, and then they came and they was like, hey man, we like you, but we're gonna go ahead and put you on injury reserve for the season. So that's what happened up there my first year.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you had a little bet from a high school person that we've actually had on the show. I saw that right up, man. So did y'all play together, or just was going in the same? So
So you're talking about Marcus?
Yeah.
So crazy thing about Marcus, right? Marcus actually is the one that got me playing football. We known each other since 2nd grade.
Nice.
So I remember he played Pop Warner, man. Like I said, like I was into like we did track meets tonight, and I was into kung fu and stuff like that, man, because that's what I used to watch back in the day.
Right.
And Marcus like, yeah, I play Pop Warner. I'm like, what's Pop Warner? It's like, I play football. I'm like, oh, you play football? I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I went home to my mom. I'm like, hey mom, I want to play football. My friends play football. She's like, nah. So so he introduced me to like football in a sense, because I'm like, oh, it's football for kids, because I didn't know it. So we met in 2nd grade, so I ended up playing my 4th grade year. So that's how we started playing. Then we played on the same team. I think Green Machines, one of the dopest teams ever in Las Vegas for Pop Warner football. And so like me and Marcus have always been cool. But my father's house was right down the street from his, so we used to always hang out when I go to my father's house. And we ended up going to high school together. And I remember.
And so he did. So tell him the bet. Was that a true story?
So the true story is it's in my yearbook to this day. and he said Baker bet who's gonna make it to the league first, me or you. he obviously beat me by 1 year.
By
1 year. But yep, it was a bet, man. And we both made it, man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So after Seattle, did you keep going?
So after Seattle, they brought in a new staff, executive staff up there.
Okay.
So they got rid of the GM, and it was a big debate whether they're going to release me or not. So I remember Coach Rowe, he got sick, so he I think stepped down for a bit, and then TA he's called me all the time and say, hey, the defense is trying to keep you here, but we're not sure what the staff was going to do. So I don't know if you got Scott McCullen. He became the GM of the 49ers. He was the one of the head scouts at the Seattle at the time.
Okay.
And so he knew all about me.
All right.
So I knew they told me they was going to release me. So I knew they was going to release me, and then the next day off the waiver wire, I got picked up by the 49ers.
49ers. Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what happened. And then and it's so funny, the same story happened. First day of camp, we're doing punt block a punt drill. One of the guys inside of me, he missed his guy, so I put my hand down, and then the guy that was rushing the edge got my hand, ripped my shoulder right out. So same thing, I was out, and so that was it.
That's tough go.
Yeah, so and they released me, brought me back, try to kind of give me the rehab, brought me back around, try to get me to go NFL Europe, and same thing happened. Just like I came back too soon, shoulder wasn't ready. To my shoulder, man.
So I guess when was that realization? Because you did arena and then you did some in Canada. When was that realization that was like,
so
I got to move on? And how was that?
I knew at the NFL, like trying to go to NFL Europe, it was a point where I'm like, dang, you get hurt here. That's 3 years in a row. I was already tagged injury prone. I think one of the doctors from Seattle pretty much, he told the entire staff like, his shoulders would never heal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Come on.
Like, you
Come
can't
on,
say
man.
that, right?
Don't put that out there.
And it wasn't true,
thing.
but that's what he said. So so I knew it was like, what could be over. So I was like, you know what? I still had that love for football. I still wanted to play. I was out of shape though. I ain't played for 2 years. So I actually fired my agent. And he called me back another. He's like, hey, Canada's trying to get you to play up there. I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's like, hey, you make a little bit of money. They want to, offer you a little bit of money. I'm like, all right. I wasn't doing anything. So I was like, you know what? Let me get a couple dollars.
Right.
So I go up there, man, and it was cool, but Canada was like, they was trying to get me to sign like a long contract. I'm like, nah. Yeah. So like, I went out there as a different game. They had me practice at like at a certain position. And they like put me in the game. They say, "Go play middle linebacker."
Whoa.
Like, huh? Whoa. I mean, they just do different things. And then I remember, once the season ended, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm like, you guys brought me up here, and like, I didn't play much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you guys are moving around different positions in the game. Like, I didn't even practice the positions during practice. They just, he was like, and we had a long talk. He's like, well, we want you to have a long-term commitment up here. We like you at long-term commitment. I was like, nah, right. Because at the end of the field, if I ever get a shot, I want to be able to kind of be able to go.
Right.
Yep.
So that's how that went. And then I think Arena Ball called me and said, hey, you want to come out here and play? And I'm like,
nah.
I was like, you know what? I didn't play that much. I'm still in shape. So I was like, sure. So
quick check,
I told him, I was like, hey, but I'm still, I got a contract with the CFL. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see what they think. So I called the GM of the CFL team. He was like, do what you want to. I was like, cool. So I played arena ball, hurt myself down there, so it was, I knew it was getting toward the end.
A lot of adversity, boy.
Yeah, so I did another year arena, and then I hurt myself again that last year, and I tore my hamstring pretty bad. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably done. So I was like, okay. So I was going back thinking like, man, what do I want to do?
Uh-huh.
And it kind of went back to, I was like, okay, what is my passion? Like, what is my heart for? And I knew I always wanted to like help kids, stuff like that. Help my community. Like one of my biggest things, even before I went to college, I said I'm always coming back to Vegas. I knew I was coming back to Vegas.
That's dope.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? And then in college, I had the opportunity to do internships with the with law enforcement with the Salt Lake City Sheriff and adult parole probation. So I always knew that was an option. So what I did is I did some part-time work with juvenile parole and probation out here, and I enjoyed it. It's a passion, like just help people and help your own people.
Yep. It
was a passion of mine. So I was like, you know what?
So that's how you got into it. That's great. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So I did a part-time job with them first. And then I said, you know what? I still love football, but I knew I was done. So I was like, maybe I can coach. So I put in a request to be a grad assistant at the University of Utah.
Oh, okay.
And then when my boy's like, hey, man, what you got going on, man? I'm like, man, just chilling, trying to figure things out. And he's like, hey, man, Metro's testing. I'm like, man, I don't know about being a police officer. that's the first thing you come to your mind. He was like, man, just think about it, man, you know. And I was like, and I sat down, thought about it, and I asked myself, what do I want out of life? I said, okay, like you talk about legacy, what do you want to be remembered for?
Right.
Helping your people, giving back to your community, all those different things. Never changed from day one. So I was like, you know what? I can do it. If you can go in law enforcement, whether it's juvenile probation or police, it's all the same thing. You there helping people. So
now, what branch are you? You're
I'm Metro. Las Vegas Metro. Yeah. So I put my application in for all three: juvenile detention probation, Metropolitan, University of Utah. I said, whoever called me first, that's where I'm going. Metro called me first.
There you go.
So that's why I went and been there ever since, man.
That's big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you touched on it, and I was going to ask you that about a lot of people. Sometimes, I saw in your article, one of your articles, you said, you grew up in the tough side of the neighborhood and things of that nature.
Yeah.
A lot of times people want to get out. When they get out of the neighborhood, they don't want to come back. It's
Right.
like, I'm gone. Like, I got out of that situation.
Right.
I'm out.
Right.
What about Vegas? What about your makeup said, I want to be back in my community and I want to serve my community?
Well, I'm born and raised Vegas.
Right.
So when you say you from Vegas, especially you say you from the West Side, like you proud when you say that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no shame to say I'm from the West Side, because what people don't understand about the West Side, it's a black community. Doesn't mean it's a poor community. It's a diverse black community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't grow up super poor. We didn't have everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we were just a working class family. It's a lot of history when it comes to my family. Like, my great grandfather brought one of the first black barbershops out here. Called Jackson Barbershop. You know, and if you know who Mac and Booker is, they got Hair Unlimited. Well, he brought them out here.
Okay. Wow.
My uncle was the first black police officer in the department. Herman Moody. The Moody House. Yeah, that's my uncle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw that PBS special. He was the first black
police
officer.
officer.
Where they could be police, but they couldn't arrest white people, and they had to.
Right.
Yeah.
He worked on the West Side. He worked on the West Side.
Wow.
So that's dope, man.
So it's just a lot of history. Like like my mother, she's an electrician.
Okay.
So it's just like you proud to be from Vegas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I went to Utah, and I grew up running track, man. And one group of people you hated was California. And they was always faster than everybody else. You know, so it's like, and going to Utah, same thing. I rep Vegas. So you always want to go back. Like, I had some awesome mentors. Like I said, I had Coach Spencer, but Larry Weekley, before he was a commissioner, was one of my mentors in the Capital League. So it was just like, it's a pride thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like coming back to Vegas, you know, it was nothing. You know, that's my home.
That's dope.
So you have a degree in sociology. Do you think that helps at all in your current role, or do you think you get to use it?
It helps on some of the discussions you have in college and how you see things differently.
Okay.
But what I do, so right now what I do, I work for the Office of Community Engagement.
Okay.
And with Office of Community Engagement, we have different units. We have the Police Athletic League program. We have the PAL program.
PAL.
We have gang prevention intervention. We have a addiction diversion program, and we have Hispanic Citizens Academy program up there. So I ran PAL for about 2.5 years.
Okay. I didn't even know they had PAL out
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So
maybe if it's just different from kind of like when we grew up, what PAL was.
And it's smaller compared to other states like Detroit, New York, Jacksonville, Florida, other big states, California, stuff like that. So I did that, man, and like that was perfect. That was right up my alley. Like I always say this,
both
man.
Things, right? You being able to help.
Yeah,
and
you're being able to help, and like going back to that sociology degree. One thing I always say, right? Because when you work with police, most people, like the people I work with, are people that have made mistakes in the past. You talking about like ex-felons, you talking about gangsters, whatever like that. You talking about people that done with drugs, and you talking about kids that come in rough communities or they can't afford to do certain things.
Yep.
And so when you compare your degree and you could compare your life experience, like I always say this, and I hope it's not offended to anybody ever see this show, is that like growing up black and growing up in the Las Vegas community, you like just your life skills make you an expert on how to mentor and teach and coach your community.
Yeah.
100%.
A degree doesn't. It gives you a more of an open vision on how to see things differently.
Yes.
From different perspectives, and make you understand things better. But it doesn't give you expertise on how to, love your community. So
that's definitely getting.
Yeah,
you get those by the
right.
experience.
So I would say
100%.
my life experience and the people I've been around is my education. You know what I'm saying? It just like the sociology degree enhances that.
Gotcha. So the elephant in the room, being black and being a cop.
Right.
I mean, growing up,
we know Snoop.
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's definitely a thing. We'll just call it a thing.
Right.
How do you attempt to maneuver through that? And then
Mhm.
how do you deal with that, right? Because you're dealing on both sides of the coins, right? Because you grew
Right.
up, like you said,
Right.
in a certain area that has a stigma,
Right.
but you came out shining and you're doing great things.
Right.
Huge things.
So how has that weighed on you with the current climate that we're in right now?
Man, it's tough. I'll start with the current climate that we're in. It's tough, man, because everybody wants to debate what's going on, talking about like Black Lives Matter. I understand it's two different things. You got the movement and you have the statement.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna get in a discussion about the movement, but with the statement, if you say you don't, it's like you're a damn lie.
Right.
And that's how I personally feel about it.
Facts.
And so for you to argue that, it's ignorant.
How do you argue that? How do you argue that?
Because my thing is this, right? If someone says they're hurting, it's not an argument, it's an understanding.
And, yeah,
So therefore, the conversation should be an understanding.
I like that.
So that's how I kind of see it. Is like, dude, you don't got to
That's dope.
agree with me, but you can listen to understand. And that's talking about the guys I work with
Mm-hmm.
and the guys I don't work with. Is that it needs to be an understanding first.
Sure.
First.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and then we can kind of move forward. So that's how I see it. Now, just being a black officer, it's like when you signed up and made a pledge for your community to serve, you gotta remember you are a serviceman first. You're doing service, and then you are a peace officer.
Peace officer.
So your job is to protect the peace.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that means you're gonna face a lot of adversity, which they teach you in the academy. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have people to call you Uncle Toms, you're gonna have white folks to call you niggas.
Mm-hmm.
It just you gonna have it.
Right.
And if you're not prepared for that, then this job ain't for you.
Mm.
And that's the same thing for any white dude, any Hispanic dude, or Asian dude, or any other person, any other color. If you can't handle that, then the job ain't for you.
Yeah.
So, cause my thing is you
That's-
know you're going to a job of adversity. Like the first thing they show you is someone getting shot, a police officer getting shot and killed on the job the first day of the academy.
Wow.
So therefore, you know it's gonna be an adverse,
Yeah.
career.
Going into it.
Life's on.
So when people say certain things to you, you have to understand, it's like, I'm a leader in the community. I'm prepared for this. How do I get on your level so we can come to a common ground so we can have peace? So that's how you should, in my opinion, I think that's a great way to approach your job as a police officer. Because now you can have an understanding who you're working with. Because like I remember going into a basketball gym with uniforms on. I'm like, hey, what's up, fellas? They look at me. These brothers. They look at me, turn their head like, yeah, we don't mess with no police.
Well, at least, right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I go back the next day, what's up, fellas? And they be like, man, they talk to me a little bit. Like, because you might have some dudes selling dope, whatever like that. It's like, hey, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to say what's up. To get to know you, get to know the community. And I did patrol. That was one thing I was known for, because the neighborhoods tell you who you are. They be
No,
like,
for
hey,
sure.
they be like, hey, Parker, man, like, hey, what they say about you? They like, man, they say you fair. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was just fair. Like, like if you need to go to jail, you're going to jail. If not, it is what it is.
But see, that's not there anymore.
I think it
Yeah, a
is
lot of-
there.
yeah.
I just think it's just like
Maybe from your perspective. I
Right.
think from a global or holistic perspective, it's just not there, right? Because the fact that I didn't even know there was PAL, I remember PAL growing up, so the officers were coaches, or the officers had the basketball, the flag league. So you
Right.
saw them in the neighborhood. And
Right.
you kind of, like you said, the streets will tell you.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I just don't think that they're in the streets anymore.
And I see what you're saying, because
Does
like
that make sense?
I definitely hear what you're saying, because like one of my issues is that, like, how do you have a PAL program when you have two officers?
That's terrible.
tough.
Like,
Yeah, that's
and it's just being real,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, the investment needs to change.
Yes.
Whether it's with every law enforcement agency out here and say, hey, let's give a few officers from every agency and partner up and do your PAL program so you can see those things getting done.
Mhm. That's
Something needs to be done. If Las Vegas Boulevard says, you know what, we need to go out here and put some resources together to make sure we can provide different things and challenge our law enforcement agencies to do better.
Mhm.
It's different things that can be done.
Hey, man. Well, in the interest of time, man, because
Yeah.
we could go down a rabbit hole with that.
Definitely,
man.
yeah.
So thank you for sharing that perspective. man.
Yes.
Because it's really good to hear.
Yeah.
It's really good to hear. But we, we always talk about a platform. So this is kind of the winner's circle,
Okay.
where we really want to talk about, the business side of things. So today, being a great husband that you are, you want to come on and you want to shout out, you want to talk about your wife.
Yeah.
It's
Felicia Parker, yeah.
Felicia Parker, her business, Any Occasion Basket. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
So Any Occasion Basket, and all I'm doing is riding her coattail.
We all do it.
I want to be
we
a
get
head
it.
coach.
I
I want to
get
be
it.
a house husband one day and a part-time coach.
There you go. There you go.
I get
But
it.
yeah, man. So she was someone like LeVar Ball always say. I forgot his quote, but he always say.
He says a lot.
Speaking to existence.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that's what she did, man. She said, you know, I want to start my own business, and that's what she did. She started making baskets. Her mom's a realtor, and she started off just making baskets for her mom, and then people was like, oh my goodness, these baskets are so nice.
Mm-hmm.
So like her mom was like, you know what, start your own business. She's like, okay. So she tried it. So she did it like, with no pressure because, you know, she didn't have to go borrow money or anything like that. She just did it.
Right.
And then more people started liking it. And then she hooked up with Berkshire Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a partnership to where they help her get some clientele. And she started doing that. So she'd get a few there, shoot a few there, and then start making a little more money. And then all of a sudden, she gained a partnership with KB Homes.
Oh, dope.
And now she's the KB Homes basket lady for the Las Vegas community. So every time someone buys a KB home, you're buying my wife's basket or you're getting my wife's basket.
That's big.
That
Yeah,
is
man.
huge.
So she's been doing it for about like 3 years
3
now,
years,
man.
3 years.
And she's been on that contract for 2. So like she just believed in something and it just worked out, man.
And what's
uh,
dope about it is you guys have a give back as a part of it.
yeah, most definitely, right? So we have a Inspire Give Back program, and what we've done a lot, man. So, and the blessing me actually working with the community, I know who needs these help. So we went to Stuback Community Center and donated like TVs, video games to them. Went to the J Street School, so we went to Matt Kelly, got them some paper. Went to CBT Gilbert, got them some stuff. So we just
That's
like she
awesome,
loves
man.
giving back, and she constantly does that.
Well, all right, man. Well, we're coming to the end here.
Yes, sir.
So this part of the show we call the assist, right? This is where you get to put your coach hat on. You get to drop some jewels, some nuggets, some knowledge. I mean, you've been doing it all show.
Okay.
But just something, last words of wisdom or a mantra that you want to leave the kids or the people that are listening.
Yeah. So one thing I would say, this is something I always say to the kids I work with, even adults, I always say, be the best version of yourself. That's the only thing you can be.
Boom.
You know what I'm saying? God gives you a gift, and it's for you to nurture and work on. And once you nurture and mature that gift, it's for you to give it back.
I love it.
So
That's amazing.
that's it. So just be your best self.
Be your best self. You heard that. Well, hey, we want to thank our guest AP, man, for coming in and,
Yes, sir.
and doing what you
Sir.
do, man. This has been awesome. I want to thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's show, man. Definitely some great content here. And just kind of got to sit back and think and know that your experiences and that, you have a chance to give back and to be better. Please give us feedback on the show. Follow us on all platforms. We are Blackinsports on all your social media platforms. You can check us out on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to access the locker rooms. We drop new episodes every Tuesday on your favorite podcast platform. Stay safe, practice gratitude, and just remember, we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.